So, very good morning, teachers. Great to see you here. So, myself, Magdalene Praveena, I'm the academic trainer from YaClass. So, please go ahead and introduce yourself once you join the session. Thank you, Mr. Narayana Kumar, for joining us. Hello, Agalya ma'am. Thank you for joining us. So once you join, please go ahead and introduce yourself. Yeah, great. Thanks for taking time and joining us for the session. Hello all, welcome to the session. So once you join, please introduce yourself in the chat box. So that's going to be our mode of communication. Let's wait for a few minutes and then we will start. We will start in a few minutes. Let's wait for a few more people to join us. Thank you, Agalya ma'am, for the response. Thank you, teachers, for joining us. Welcome you all to the session. Please introduce yourself as you join. Okay, so great. Thank you for joining us, teachers. I welcome you all to this webinar. So to start off with, let me introduce myself. I'm Magdalene Praveena, the academic trainer with YaClass. Moving forward, let's go ahead and check out what's in store for us. So before we start off with our session, I would like to ask you a few questions. Are you ready? There's a small quiz. I will be asking you a few questions and kindly send in your answers in the chat box. Okay? Fine. So how can you get 200s from the number in the picture using only one line? How can you get 200s from the number in the picture using only one line? So we are teaching critical thinking and problem solving and lateral thinking, everything for our students. This is a small challenge for us. Okay, great. So please type in your answers in the chat box. What do you think the answer is? There are no right or wrong answers. Send in your answer in the chat box. How can you get 200s from the number in the picture using only one line? Okay, great. So I got some response. That's great. So you have to add a line in the middle. Great. Good answer. So let's check if it's right. Wow. Thank you, Agalya ma'am. That was a great answer. Okay. So moving forward, the next question. You have 3 matchsticks here on screen. How will you convert them into a number 6 without breaking them into pieces? You have 3 matchsticks here on screen. How will you convert them into a number 6 without breaking them into pieces? Come on, teachers, give it a try. How can we convert the picture on screen which shows 3 matchsticks? How can we convert that into number 6? You can give it a wild guess. Only constraint is you cannot break the matchsticks. Yes, teachers, I'm waiting for your answers. Yeah, just make a wild guess. So let me repeat the question. You have 3 matchsticks on screen. How will you convert them into number 6 without breaking them into pieces? Okay, so let's check what the answer is. Okay, that was a Roman number. And so Roman number in 3 was there on screen, and you can convert it by merging the edges, one edge. Okay, so that was a great one. Agalya ma'am, thank you for your answer. Straight line, then at the edge add a stick and then join another with it. Yeah, thank you so much. That was a good try. Thank you. Okay, so the last question. One man was 25 years old in 2000 and 20 years old in 2005. How is it possible? What do you think the answer is? One man was 25 years old in 2000 and 20 years old in 2005. That means his age is decreasing, is it? How is it possible? What do you think the answer is? Bit tricky, right? Yeah, just give it a wild guess. So in 2000 he was 25 and 2005 he is 20. How is it possible? Yes, so we are here on a question and I've asked it. Let me repeat the question. One man was 25 years old in 2000 and 20 years old in 2005. So how is it possible? Okay, Agalya ma'am, no idea. Okay, fine. So let's check out what was the actual thing. Answer. So this man lived in BC and that is why this is the answer. So in 2000 he was 25 and 2005 he is 20 years old. So that is how this is possible. Okay, that was great. Thank you for your enthusiastic and great answers. Thank you, Agalya ma'am, once again. Okay, so we were stuck up with the pandemic for the past 6 to 7 months, rather almost a year. Now the question arises, we had lot of options to connect with people. Now if there are no online options, no Google Meet, no Zoom, no WhatsApp to send and receive learning outcomes, so how would the situation be? How would the situation be? What do you think would have happened if there were no online options at all and we were not able to come out of our houses, we were not able to go to the school, we were not able to meet our students? So what would have happened? Just imagine if there is no Google Meet, no Zoom, no WhatsApp. So how would it be like, the situation? Just the running thoughts coming to your mind, send it in live chat. So no class, no studies, only enjoyment. Okay. Okay, that's a nice answer. So probably that would have been for students and not teachers, right? Yeah, teachers also would have enjoyed some time of rest. Okay. What other thoughts come to your mind regarding this? If there are no online options, so how would the situation be? What other things come to your mind? Okay. Thank you, Mr. George. It's sitting and relaxing, of course. Yeah, teachers keep working round the clock all the time and now they've got some time to relax. Great. Of course. Okay. So that was a great answer. Thank you, Agalya ma'am. Thank you, Mr. George. Question is, what would have happened to students and what would have happened to teachers? Okay, that was a very thoughtful answer. Students will lose interest in learning, of course. So since they are able to come to school, they are learning something new, and that's the that is what is actually keeping them going. That's what is actually kindling their interest towards learning. So definitely yes. Both teacher and student forget whatever they have learned. Definitely yes. When we lose touch with the subject, definitely we forget things. Okay, so definitely that's a good answer. Thank you. And yeah, so we'll be playing traditional games, of course. Yes, you know what, traditional games were actually set up to kindle learning, create interest in students and whoever plays it. So definitely we can take learning out of that also. Good ones. So, what more? Would there be interaction between students and teachers? Will the teacher be able to teach something? Will the students be able to learn something without the teacher? So teachers' work would be bigger if there is no digital platform. That's a lovely answer. Great. Good one. Thank you. Thank you for all your answers. So definitely we would have lost connection with the students. Teachers would have lost connection with students, and students would have got lost without coming to school. Okay, that's a good answer too. Possibly natural learning will happen. Great. So teachers are playing vital role in teaching and the learning process. Definitely yes. So definitely they need something to communicate with the students. Moving forward, so we have taught something, but how would we assess what they have learnt? Especially in this situation, we would have taught something. We have the online platform now. Okay, that was a situation. Imagine we didn't have something. If we didn't have something, what would have happened? Definitely we were giving thoughts about it. So if we have a platform, we teach something, how would we assess the students? What did they understand and things like that? So definitely not. So if teachers available in school, students didn't like to learn. Okay, definitely if teachers are not available in school, students find it difficult to learn. Definitely yes. So to make concepts clear, we require teachers, of course. Students may be underprepared for a competitive world. Definitely yes, they would be definitely. There's a competition all around in the world, and teachers are really preparing students for that. So that role really will be lagging. Okay, so how would we assess students if we are taking classes online? How would we assess students? Possibly you would have done all this in this time, so you might have followed some method. You have to test them. You have to evaluate or gauge or estimate like what was the learning level. Ultimately that has to happen. That's what they called as the result, the content that they have learned. So things like that, how would you assess it? As teachers, how would you assess the students once they learn things, or you have taught something? How do you get the response from the students? Yes, teachers. Okay, so there are types of assessments. There are two types. One is going to be static and the other one is going to be dynamic, right? Possibly you'd be knowing all this before, so let me also tell you in detail. Okay, Agalya ma'am, it's difficult to make the students get engaged. Definitely yes. So how would you do it is what the question is, and a topic is about it, dynamic assessment, right? So we have two types of assessment. The one is going to be static, the other one is going to be dynamic. So let's move in forward and find out what's in detail. Now, as the screen shows, there are different types of assessments. To be specific here, we are having formative and summative assessment. So these words you would have always heard in schools. Now, formative assessments, you have different types of tests, like the quick quiz that you give in the school, like a project work, like a group discussion, anything that you would like to quickly have a check on, that you suddenly get okay, let me do this in the classroom and try it. Okay, so such kind of assessments are there. that comes under formative, and even your homeworks that comes under formative. So it's going to be short questions, like 2 or 3 questions or 5 questions that they'll be doing the same day and they will give it to you the next day. Okay, so these type of assessments, finding out what the student has actually learned, will be coming under formative. And you have the summative assessments, which is written assessments and practical assessments, where the student will be asked to write exams. Okay, it's more of a kind of memory test, right? So the question is, which assessment is dynamic, do you think? Now we have formative assessments and then we have summative assessments. Which assessment is dynamic? Which one do you think will be dynamic? So formative, we were talking about quizzes, classroom activity, group discussion. Then we have homeworks, so project works, where the students work together and find out answers. And then now tell me, and then summative, we have written exams, where the student has to learn something for a particular exam and then they answer it, right? So these kind of things happen. Now which assessment do you think is dynamic? So I've got an answer from Mr. Narayan. Formative assessment, you feel. Okay, great. Any other answers from you teachers? Any different answers, or you also feel the same thing? Any different answer from anyone? Thank you, Mr. Jalal, for joining us. Formative, you also think it's formative. Formative assessment is dynamic. Okay. Any other different answers? Home assessment. Okay, that means you mean homeworks. Okay. Okay, great. Formative, Mr. George, thank you. Formative assessments. Okay, so most of you think it's formative. Let's find out what's the answer. That was a great answer from most of you, all of you, in fact, 100%. So formative assessments will be coming under dynamic assessments. Okay, so we have to assess students then and there. We would like to give them creative tasks. Okay, and quickly find out what they have learned. Quick method. Okay, now we'll be using a different method to do that, right? So if it's going to be summative, it's going to be only the question paper. They'll be having the question paper, they have to read it, they have to write the answer, teachers have to correct it and give the score. Now in formative assessments, the dynamic assessment, the method of assessing changes, right? So that is what we are looking at. And we have a lot of tools in the market which we have been using for quite some time now. So I would call, I don't think any teacher was sitting and relaxing all this time. In fact, they were actually trying to find out which tool will help me interact with my student better, right? So they were actually busy finding out, learning themselves, I would call it. Okay, so few months back, we were all happy teaching children in our classrooms. Okay, definitely that would have been one major reason for any teacher who wanted to take it as a profession and do it. So any teacher who wants to, who has become a teacher, and if you ask them, they really enjoy the face-to-face interaction that they do in the classrooms. So we were really happy doing it all this time. For the past 6 to 7 months, something else happened. That was the COVID-19, right? So that brought in the need for online assessments. Okay? Yes, we faced a situation which we didn't expect to happen, but that is how our life was for the past 6 to 7 months. Now, did we all get upset and just became stagnant? No, I don't think so. We were literally finding out different ways to, connect with our students, right? The need for online assessment arose. So we were trying to find out what can we do best, right? So is it optional or forced? Oh, that was really a great question. Now, there was a need for online assessment. Was it optional or was it forced? You can send in your answers in the chat box. The need for online classes and the need for online assessment, was it optional or was it forced? What do you think happened for you, or what do you think happened for, as maybe some of your parents here also, what happened to your children, that also. So few of you might be friends of teachers also, right? So was it optional or was it forced? The need for online classes and assessments. Thank you, Mr. Sujay, for your answer. Great, higher order thinking questions. Good. Okay, so forced, of course. There was no choice, actually. True, very true. Mr. George, thank you. Any other answers? Was there an option for any of the teacher here? Anybody? Was it an option, or was it like there's no choice, we have to go by it? Even I mean, if there is an option, definitely we will go for the face-to-face interaction, but it was really not possible, so we had to go for something which is forced. Mr. Narayan, thank you. Forced, in some cases optional. Good, nice answer. Okay, so definitely that was a bit troublesome for us in the beginning, but now we have got used to it. You know what? We have been using a variety of tools to keep it going. So it's 100% required, but it's threatening. Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Mr. Sajay. Okay, I have a question here. You can see the screen now with few apps here, which was maybe a few months earlier, maybe you didn't know much about it, but now you are really proficient at it now. So can you name a few apps or softwares that's on screen? Can you name a few apps that's on screen which you have been using for the past 7-8 months now? So you have Microsoft Office tools, then WhatsApp, Google Drive, YouTube, PDF, Gmail, MS Paint. So these many tools teachers have been using all this time, right? So that was really great of teachers to find out a method to interact with their students all the time. They never wanted to let their children go down, right? So Google Drive, G Drive, okay, thank you. So you were using Google Drive. YouTube, of course. So some schools, they were asking teachers to take videos and upload in their so that students can view it from their side. G Drive and G Meet, okay. Google Drive and Google Meet, great, yeah. So these kind of things we've been using all this time, right? But do you think any of these tools were created keeping teachers in mind? This tool was created for a teacher to use or interact with the student. Curated videos. Thank you, Mr. Sujay, for the answer, Mr. George, and thank you, Mr. Narayan. Thank you so much. Do you think any of these tools were used? Definitely used, but do you think it was it created with keeping teachers in mind? So what do you think, teachers? You can give in your answers. any of these tools here, may it be Google Meet, may it be Office tools. So Office tools, there is an idea behind Office tools. Like for example, you have Excel. Excel was specifically created for someone who does accounts. Okay, so that'll be easy for them to do calculations. So if you're writing a report, it will be easy if you go with Word. So likewise, you have each and every software or application has its own reason for creation. Yeah, good. So Mr. Narayan says no, none of these tools. Okay, Mr. George says G Classroom. Okay, that's a good one, right? So some of these tools may be very useful for teachers, but personally, like, I feel none of them were created keeping teachers in minds. Okay, so let's move forward and find out one important tool that was created for teachers to use, right? Specifically, teachers want to teach class even when the student is not in the class, virtual classroom also. The teachers want to teach them, and more important, they want to assess the students. More and more important is they want to really find out what was the understanding of the student, right? So here is one important tool which we're going to talk about, and shortly I will be showing a demo of this tool. So how does this work? Why do we say that this is a tool that has been created keeping teachers in mind? So why is it? Okay, so that is the big question now. Let us move forward and see the demo of YaClass.in. So YaClass is a website, right? So it's not any storage place. It doesn't require any much storage in your system. It's a website to begin with. Okay. Okay. So here is how the home page of YaClass looks like. Specifically, it was created for teachers, students, and parents. Okay. So mainly it was created for these three people. For students, they can work out their exercises, they can learn, and then teachers can view it from their side. They just have to enter their user ID and password, and then they can see the child's whatever progress is. Okay, so okay, thank you, Mr. George. G Classroom was updated, but it was there. Okay, great. Thank you for your answer. Yeah, so let's see what is there in store for us in YaClass. Now, what does YaClass do? It reduces repetitive and mundane tasks that teachers do by 90%. So class preparation, every time they keep doing the same thing, right? They different way of doing things, but they have to do something repeatedly. Now that has been reduced by YaClass by 90%. Okay, so no more time intensive routines of checking notebooks and compiling reports. So you have a new system for that, right? So that's YaClass. Improve students' engagement and attention by 60%. Okay, so the biggest problem of teachers when they had online classes was the student engagement. So certain funny things which might have happened to most of the teachers, like they try to connect their students have internet issues. That is fine, that's understandable, but sometimes they mute the audio and video, and then we don't find them at all in the class. So we keep taking class for a quite long time, and we find that the student is not responding. Then we come to know that the student is not there at all. So even that happens, right? Now how do we engage them in the learning process? We cannot let go them just like that. We also need to teach them. They also have to learn it, but they have to do it voluntarily, right? Without any kind of forcing them. So how does that happen? That engagement is increased by 60%. And then the site is very easy to navigate. It's a website and it's quite easy to navigate. So you have short videos on how to go about the registration process, how to add classes, how to add your students, and how do you go and check the subjects. Okay, so how is each subject what do you call structured? So all that we will be checking, right? So you also have short videos on that which you can have a look at. So moving forward, you have the materials available for you. So these subjects are available there in the website already. So mathematics CBSE State Board, science CBSE State Board, English, and then social science, and many more to come. So we have our own content team working on it, who are experts, subject matter experts in different fields. They create tasks for the students and then they upload it here, right? So these subjects are coming soon, even the languages, right? Tamil, Hindi, French, and then computer science, like that. Now, how does this work? So each task has unique variations and solution steps that will help the child master the material and learn from their mistakes. Now, when they are doing a written test and they just work on their own, they don't have any kind of what do you call support to do better and learn themselves better without being, you know, sometimes they are a little bit shy to come and ask you things like that. Okay, so how does it work here? The teacher sends the student a task. Okay, the student can open the task and do it in their YaClass website itself. So they'll also have a user ID and password, and they can open it and they can do the task. Once the teacher sends it, the student can take up the test. Now they do it wrongly, in case, right? So if they do it wrongly, what happens next is you can generate different set of questions for the same concept. Okay, so that is what we call as entropy, and we have it here in our website. Okay, right. So let's move on and find out how do we register in our website. So initially, when you are entering into the website, it will be asking you to sign up for free, right? So you have to click on I'm a teacher, right? So if you are a teacher, just click on I'm a teacher. You have a very simple registration process. Okay, so you just have to choose things and then like enter your email address and create a new password, and then type in your first and last name and then your phone number. So why do we require the phone number? So there's a short verification process from the YaClass website, right? People will be calling and checking, verifying if you're working in the school, in the same school, and then you can use our website, right? So you can choose your educational institution. So mostly it will be available here. Even if it's not so, you can add your new educational organization here, right? So and then you can select your subject, and then you can click on these options. It's just the regular thing which happens, right, with any website, and then click on register. So once you click on register, you'll be receiving an email. Once after you confirm it, you can start using. Now I have an ID already, teacher ID. So let me show you using my ID. Okay, so this is my home page. Okay, I have also scored a few points by taking up few exercises, right? So let me take you through what is inside. As I told you, there are short videos on how to do step-by-step registration, how to start giving assignments for students, things like that. You'll have short videos inside every teacher's portal, and it is available all the time, right? So moving forward, you have my classes where you can add your own class and then add your students to your class. Okay, so I'll also show you how is it done. If at all I don't find my class here, so I want to add my new class, I can click on add class, choose my class, type out my section and click on submit. Okay, so this already exists. Okay, so 6i, I have created and I have clicked on save, right? Now it's asking for registering students, right? So this is the one time process. After that you will not require this, right? So this is the class which we just created. Click on register students. You don't actually need the email ID, okay? So you just need their username. This can be their admission number also, okay? So let's check. I'll just give a sample. Maybe okay, so this is the username I want to give. Okay, and create, and then the password has been generated randomly, and then this is how the process is. Now this user has been added, the student has been added to the class, okay? So moving forward, so how do we add another student? Now let me add another student. So below this table itself, you have the option to add another student, okay? So I will go for a student. Okay, this is a male, and just clicking on create. So as you can see, students are being created with a random password, okay? And once you are done with all the students in your class, you have to click on download CSV, which gives an Excel file of all the students with their password, okay? So that's available here, that gets downloaded in your system, and you can share it with your students, so that they can start using the YaClass portal. So this is how registration happens for students, okay? So after we are done with the registration, now how do we look into the subjects, okay? So click on subjects and you see all the subjects here, right? So let me show you one example of how the subject is being, structured. So you have teacher manuals, okay? That's going to be quick output of every section. You have the theory section, which is going to be precisely telling you what is what. It is not going to be the exact replica of the book. It's the main concept, okay? So that is how theory section is. So moving forward, you have the exercises here, okay? Exercises are questions, okay? You have the questions here. You can choose it. So all natural numbers are whole numbers. Let me just click on 0 is the smallest whole number, okay? So I am choosing randomly and click on send answer. Now what happens is whatever is in green is going to be the right answer, and you have scored points for it, and whatever is in red tells you it's a wrong answer, right? And below is going to be the solution steps. Why is this answer wrong? You can get to know when you read what is down, okay? So these are the solution steps. This will be available for every student once the teacher adds the student to their class. Now you have an option called run this exercise with other conditions. You click on it, you get a different set of questions, okay? So the whole number 0 has no predecessor in the whole number system. The concept is going to be the same, but the questions differ, okay? So that is how the student can learn the concept much better, okay? So that is what happens, fine? Okay, so this is about mathematics. Now likewise, every subject is structured inside YaClass, okay? Fine. So moving forward, let's find out how do we give the test works, okay? We have a section called test works here. Click on it and then click on new test work, right? So here you have options to choose from whatever we have got. Now here it's science state board. If you want, you can change it, right? So possibly English. So you have topics here. Now we chose class 6, right? So we can choose So if you can see the book symbol, all these are theory parts. Okay, so if you want them to read the theory, you can very well send them as a task. Okay, they have to read it and come, and definitely you can give them points for it also. Possibly I'm giving 5 points for them to read this alone, right? So, and you have exercise questions with orange dots, right? So orange dots denote the level of difficulty. So here it's going to be 2 dots and the difficulty level is medium, right? So if it's going to be 3 dots, it's really hard. Okay, and you have training tests, homeworks, progress tests, all that is available in the website itself. Okay, you can choose any of them and then you can send it to the student. So just by clicking the exercise, you can choose it, you can change the points, and then you click on continue. So moving forward, I want to give it to class 6I, which I just created. There is option for sending it to specific students, or you can send it to the whole class also. That is also possible, right? So this one advantage is here, like sometimes we call students to come for extra classes, things like that, so they might feel a little bit down. But when you do such kind of options, they will the other students will not know that they have got extra exercises. In fact, they'll feel, these students who are getting more exercise, they'll feel really happy to do it much more, and they'll be engaged in learning. So that is how this happens, right? So so click on send to whole class, or it's up to you. You can either send it through YaClass portal or use it through the LMS link. Okay, you can send it through the link, right, like you do for your Google Meet or Zoom link. Whatever link you're sending, you can do the same. So just click on it and then it will be generated. You can share it using WhatsApp or email, right? So I'm just right now I'm doing for showing it in the YaClass portal. So I just click on continue, and here you can change every option here. So this is the heading, I don't want to change it. Now when do you want the students to see this exercise? Right after publication, immediately after you send, they can see it, or you can edit it. When do you want to see it? Probably today, if you are taking it today itself, you can allow them to see. You can even fix up the time here. So that is up to you. The next is going to be by default, like they can see it for 7 days. Now you can change that also, like let them see it only for 3 days. After that it will expire by the same time, 11:47. Okay, now time limit is there, of course. Yes, I'm going to set time limit. Let me give it only 30 minutes, and after that the test expires. Okay, let me be little lenient and give them maybe 3 tries and score up the best try. That means whichever test they get more marks, that will be counted. Okay, so the result, test work result, will be visible immediately after the completion. So in case of exams, you can set it to some other option. Okay, visible after test work end date, after the student completes the test work, or after the teacher checks the test work, something like that. You change it, it's all completely yours. And the last option is going to be do not shuffle option. So here you can choose it to be random question for each student. If this is the case, even if they sit next to each other, it's not possible for them to copy, because both of them will not be getting the same question at the same time, right? So this is the randomized question option. Okay, great. So moving forward, now we have checked everything. Let me preview the test. So this is how the test work looks like for them. So first one was a theory part which we gave them, and this is going to be the exercise, and this is how it is going to be visible. Don't worry, solution steps will be visible only after they take the test. Okay, so after this you can send it to students. Now you have sent it to students. Now how do you check the report? Okay, so again in our test work area itself, so this is the test work you just sent it. Okay, so click on it and check it, how many of them have taken and how much was the score. So as of now, these students have not started because we haven't informed them yet, right? So you just have to inform them that we have assigned a test work for you. Once they start taking the test, it will reflect here. You can very well check the answer and also see where the exact mistake is. Okay, and how do you maybe you can give them some specific feedback where to work on, and you can send them some specific exercises. So this being English, if it's going to be any poem or prose specifically on that particular chapter, or if it's going to be grammar like nouns or pronouns or wherever the child is finding it difficult to cope, you can give them more exercises to the specific child also. That is also possible, right? So this is how the portal does. So we have seen how to we have seen like what all tutorials are available, short videos, and then you have my class section where you can add your classes. Then okay, so I would like to show you one more interesting thing. That's going to be the top section. This is available for every teacher again. So clicking on it, you can check out like who has come in the top position. Now again, this is nothing to pull the child down. It is done majorly to increase the competitive spirit in children. Now we think, okay, fine, so students will find it difficult if they see all these things. No, it is not like that. Definitely, if it's going to be points, students are really wanting to do, just beat each other. Like they just want to, create that competition. They really find it really happy. So they keep doing more and more exercises. So first time when somebody comes up first, next time somebody else comes in. So this can be seen here. One more thing is school top ranking is also available here, where you can see all the schools that are connected with YaClass, whatever points they have got and what position they have attained. Okay, so right now we can see Corpus Christi School standing up first with all this point. Now these points were actually got from by the students, right? So when they do exercises and when teachers assign test work, when the activity happens, that is how the school has come up to the top level. Likewise, we have many schools here, right? So whichever school is associated with YaClass, when they start doing the activity, they gain points and they enter into this top list. Okay, so this is again to create a kind of competitive spirit within students. Okay, so that was basically the short demo of our website. Okay, so you also have subject updates here, which tells you what has happened yesterday, day before yesterday, like what all subjects have come up, okay, in the content thing. Now this is basically our website. Okay, moving forward, let me stop here and ask you a question. Okay, so do you have any doubts in whatever we have done so far? Okay, so almost we have come to the end of the webinar. I would like to ask you the question, like whatever doubts if you have, you can ask now. And one more important thing is, once you have done with the webinar, there is a short link here that will be posted in the chat box. That's already here. Okay, so you can click on it, just enter your name, school name and email address, and you will be receiving a certificate for the webinar that you have just attended. And so that is there on the chat box already. So you can do that also. So before that, if you have any questions, you can ask me now in the chat box. So I'm waiting for you teachers. Quickly tell me if you have any doubts. I will also show you that. Okay, so I'm waiting for your teachers. Send in your questions. I'm here to answer you. If you have any doubts regarding the portal, anything that we discussed so far, it was highly interactive. I was really happy to see people interacting in the chat box. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for interacting and keeping the webinar really live. So any questions here, you can ask me now. You can just enter in the chat box. So thank you, Mr. Sujay. Good to see. I hope your learning practice also increased. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So whatever we have seen till now, like students have improved in their learning process. So they quickly take exercises and then they gain points. We don't call it marks. It is just points. So you just get the diamond or star. That's how we tell them. That's how it is actually. And that really helps and motivates students to do much better. Okay, so that's how it happens. Thank you so much, Sujay. Okay, so parent engagement, that's another important thing which I would like to address. Thank you, Mr. George, for reminding. Yeah, so you also have an option for the parents to enroll here, right? So parents can also like kind of, I will not say it monitor you, if you want to have a look at what your child has done, okay, what kind of exercises they have taken, what is available, how is the child's activity. So all that you can very well check using, you can also create your own login here and then you can have a check on it, right? So that is also possible. Looks like a great program, particularly the test editor section. Thank you, Mr. George. I'll be glad if you just sign up and try to use it. So as of now it's free of cost, right? So you can just enroll it. And one important thing is I wanted to show you is, okay, so you have your classes here and you need minimum of 7 students to start trial. What is this option start trial is? This is actually a paid thing, right? YaClass is going to be the paid thing. That means you can access everything else except the solution steps. Okay, so solution steps are visible only if you start trial with your students, and this start trial works only when you have a minimum of 7 students. So I would request you to add your class, add all your students and click on start trial so that they can view the solution steps for the test that they have taken, even the exercises that they take, right? So just by doing exercises they get points, that is fine. But if they have made a mistake, they would like to know what was the mistake. In that case, they need to definitely review the solution steps. So if you want that to be available for your students, I would request you to click on start trial once you register all your students. And registration is again a simple process. You just need the first and last name. That's it. Okay. And the user ID can be the admission number of the student. That is also fine, right? So that's a simple process. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Narayan Kumar. Thank you. It was good. Yeah. Thank you for your feedback. Please fill in the form and you will be receiving a certificate. So whoever participated in the webinar, thank you so much for your time. It was a great webinar, great time we had together. I feel that was really great. Thank you so much. Please fill in the form to receive the certificate. Okay. Space for individual learning is the greatest point for appreciation. Thank you so much, Mr. George. Thank you so much. That was really nice to hear from you. Please fill in the form to get the certificate. And no questions for me? If you have any questions, please send me. If we don't have any questions, we can finish a webinar. And it's 12 o'clock. So you can send in any questions if at all you have. Otherwise, we can wind up. Thank you so much for your time. Any questions, anybody? So if you do not have any questions, please fill in the form and you will receive the certificate in your email. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. George. Thank you so much. Okay, teachers. Thank you for your time. We are done. Yeah. So for more questions, you can send an email to info@yaclass.in. So kindly do so. If you have any queries, you can reach us at info@yaclass.in so that we'll respond to your query shortly. Right? Yeah. Please fill in the form to receive the certificate. Thank you so much, teachers. We had a great time.